Okay, so that's kind of a good segue into the next topic, which is salary increases and the cost of public employees. Don't get me wrong, I love public employees. But, right now, and we're not talking about what happened with COVID stuff.
Right.
But prior to that, right now, employee salaries and employee costs consume about 80% of the city's budget.
Yes, it does.
And we have not had a tax increase in our property taxes since 2004 in Mesquite. And so I go to the budget hearings, I listen to them, I study the documents, but, the unions used to have their contracts staggered where this year it was one contract, next year is another, next year is another. Now they're all the same. They're all synchronized.
Yes.
And it has been over the last 10 years or so that, well, hey, they got 5%, we want 5%. Well, they got 5%, so we get 5%. So now the unions have done a really good job of, syncing with each other. But along with those salary increases are increases in PERS, donations, not contributions in my mind. Benefit costs are going up, PERS is going up. Pretty soon, it just seems like the council, the mayor, the city staff is going to have to start making some hard choices between cutting services, not giving out as much pay raise, requiring employees to participate somewhat in their PERS contributions, or you're going to raise taxes. Something's going to have to give here in this whole situation. So, kind of talk to us about what your ideas and your philosophy and your thoughts are in that realm.
Well, first of all, now we're in a situation we've never been in before, really. Really unknown as to what's going to be coming in, and my feeling is it's going to be reduced as time goes on because we haven't hit the bottom of the barrel yet. It's going to get worse. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And we have to have a balanced budget. It's required by the state of Nevada.
It's required.
You turn in a balanced budget or you're in big trouble.
Yep.
They're not happy with you. So where are we with all that? And costs are going up constantly. Healthcare costs are going up and so forth. When you're on the receiving end, it's wonderful. When you're on the giving end, it's not quite so wonderful because you're correct. We need to make sacrifices somewhere along the line because we need to balance a budget.
Yeah.
Can we start going backwards? It's not a great idea because you've got key employees that you have to retain. You just can't keep going through employees because they see another place. I had this one in my own business. When an employee would come to me and say, so-and-so pays, in those days, $5.50, and you're paying $5.25. What are you going to do, boss? Can I get a raise? I want to get the same amount of money. And then you look at your bottom line and you say, wait a minute, where did my profit go if it all goes to wages and so forth?
Right.
Well, city's not profit-making, we know that.
It's
not a business. But we still have to balance a budget based on what's coming in. Personal opinion now, with the things the way they are, and it's not popular, I'd have a freeze, to be honest with you, until we figured out where in the world we are. Because before, we were on that, after 2008 and 2009, all of a sudden we started that curve up again.
Yeah.
And it stayed up there until just months ago.
Yep.
So we thought, well, what's the problem? The raises are coming, we have the money to pay the raises. Healthcare costs may go up, not a problem. PERS, of course, correspondingly goes up, not a problem. Well, now we don't know what's coming in, and it's not good. And so I think we're going to have to tighten our belts. Now, do we cut services? I'm sure there's some services we could cut amongst the departments. We've cut budgets.
Like what?
Well, let's take an example of if we clean the streets 3 times a week, and it costs X number of dollars. Could we clean the streets twice a week and still maintain a work crew, as an example? Or do we have to, because of that, are we going to lay off some people? And those are done during labor negotiations. I have not been part of the negotiations. And it's kind of been felt over the years that maybe the mayor should stay out of that, because you're tainting things by being there sometimes. So you leave it up to the people that should be doing it. And it's usually, obviously, the city manager who's responsible in the long run for all this, and the city attorney who's going to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a conundrum right now. What do we do? We know that we have to be competitive out there in the world, because there are jobs available in other communities that people will go to. I've seen this happen a million times. I'm going to get 5% raise, and I'm not going to mention any names, but we lost a wonderful employee about 6-7 years ago from the city for a very small increase in pay to St. George. And we probably could have handled it then and said, okay, no, we'll match that. But at the time, the administration didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And it didn't occur, and we lost our employee. Do we pay way more than other people? I don't really think so. I think we're pretty much on par. They do salary studies every year to see where we're at. So I think we're pretty good for where we are. Now, is it as dangerous to be a police officer here as it is in Las Vegas? No, of course not. Is it as dangerous to be a fireman? Probably not. But is it as dangerous to be, let's say, a particular clerical position? Now, they're equal, you know?
Yeah.
You go to work, the same thing. Cost of living is pretty much the same. And we have to watch that very carefully, because, you know, obviously, if you're an employee, you want more money. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we've got to.
But at some point,
we have to say no.
At some point,
We have to
something
say-
has to give.
Yeah,
We're either going
exactly.
to raise taxes.
And that's the most unpopular thing in the world, is to raise taxes. And as you
Yeah.
probably know, as a non-home rule city, there isn't much we can do to raise money.
Yeah.
We're very limited, other than property tax, and we can't go too far with that either.
Yeah.
So that won't solve the issue.
Because any kind of property tax has to go through the state and the county and, you know, a lot of rigmarole.
we're not
It's
like-
not just, you guys take a vote one night when nobody's listening.
Exactly.
And
No,
then
it
we
doesn't work.
can
It doesn't work like
increase.
that.
Yeah, it
work
doesn't
like- no. And
work.
then, of course, the state put themselves in a situation with a cap on property tax.
Yeah.
We get part of that money. So they're going to have to lift the tax cap if they want to raise more money through taxes. Otherwise, personally, I'm paying less property tax now than I did in 2005. And it's going to take probably another 10 years before it equals what I was paying in 2005.
Yeah.
At
Before the cap went
Yeah,
up.
at 3% a year.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's going to have to be a lot of decisions made on every level. But you know, it is important to keep employees. There's no doubt about it. It costs a lot more money to train an employee than it does to keep turning them over.
Yeah.
But as far as our future, you know what? I wish I had a crystal ball.
Oh, boy, I do too.
Yeah, and I think almost everybody does.
Yeah.
You know, you go into businesses and you see that they're open, but they're not doing any business.
Yeah.
And then the layoffs are going to start again and again. And you know, unemployment this last month was 884,000 new applicants. It was almost identical the month before that. So
Yeah.
right now we're plateauing. But I foresee actually by the first year, the unemployment rate starting to climb again.
Yeah.
As businesses start to sink. They're hanging on for so long.
Yeah. Let's segue a little bit into, you kind of mentioned it when you were talking about union negotiations, what the mayor's role is. And under the charter, you know, we adopted a city charter form of government a couple years ago. I made and I'm not criticizing you, but I made a comment in one of my articles some months ago that, you know, the mayor is just a figurehead now. And you came back and said, you know better than that, the mayor does a lot. So.
Well, the mayor does a lot. Well, absolutely the mayor does a lot. But when you read the city charter, they put the position in a corner, and it states, I believe it's verbatim, the mayor is the spokesman of the city. But that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's, you know.
So what do you see as the mayor's role now under the city charter form of government? How it changed from before until now. So tell us
Well,
what
okay.
that role is as you see it.
Okay, well, let me back up first to when we were
Okay.
2-6 city, law city, and the mayor was the CEO of the city.
Yeah.
Which was still kind of unusual because the mayor still didn't hire or fire, that's number one. Other than recommend two positions, which are the city manager, the city attorney. And then again, that still has to be with the consent and advice of the city council.
Yeah, they vote on it.
Yeah, and it hasn't been changed any.
Yeah.
The mayor doesn't vote except in the case of a tie. I've done that one time since I've been mayor, and it was just a nothing item that nobody called in on, and it was a tie vote. And I split the vote, and it was non-controversial. Couldn't remember what it was. My role is to get out there and talk to people, which I do all the time, make connections. As an example, this week, a gentleman is coming in with a company, and he's doing a site visit in Mesquite on Thursday. They want to meet the mayor, and they want to talk to the mayor about the city.
Okay.
My job is to get out there and sell the city to this company. And again, I don't even know what the company is yet, but I'm prepared to sell the city. You make those connections, you make those relationships, and likewise with the other mayors that I deal with in Clark County. And they help us out, surprisingly. They throw leads our direction on things and ideas in our
Yeah.
And so my job is to get out there and work with all these people.
Okay.
It isn't to go knock on doors and sell a business to somebody. We're paying somebody a large sum of money to do that.
Right.
I'm the spokesman of the city, and I have to set a perfect example, obviously, because they're going to come back and look at the mayor. I get dozens of emails a week. Mayor, can you help us with this? Can you do that? And I do this.
Yeah.
So I'm almost an intermediate. I got a call the other day. They didn't like something on our website. Can you help me out with it? Yeah. And I go down and I talk to the right people. I said, this is the issue. Here's the email. Can you correspond with this person? Explain this to them. There's a pothole. There's a this. They didn't clean the park. You name it, I'm out there.
I know I've been info on some of the emails you've received.
And you know what? I answer every single one. No one ever gets left behind on an email. I've got one today, and I forwarded it off to tech services last week. And I said, if you don't hear from tech services, 'cause I can't answer the question. It's over and above my head.
Yeah.
Let me know. I got an email this morning. Haven't heard a word. Well, today I can't go down there. There's nobody at tech services. We're pretty much closed. Monday morning, I'll be there at tech services to get an answer for this individual. And then, in as much as they didn't send it to the person, I'll personally do it myself.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times I like, quote, the expert in that area to do it because they can give a better answer than I can.
Yeah. Okay. All right.